Pandada lama rama jayanda vijaya bindani jimbe bande jimbe bande jimbe devi kusundu jimu doze kosu. Tangzo kulung kumdi kya kosra kulung kumdi tata nangzo dishi chu nyingi yore yinza di susu chigu tanda dhruya ma yinbarwa dhruwa simje mungbo jila pendo dhruya ki chi dhiyo nyingi chu di nyingi yo samay kune kulung shimbengi kuni simbi simbe kune kulung ya wachiche shos.
So, correcting our motivation that I will listen to this Four Noble Truths, therefore, not just for oneself, is Dharma, but to benefit all beings. So, with that altruistic, beneficial intention in mind,
다 가와 kumlo hanzo 야 미르된 레네네 도마준데 송베 최 당고 송베 최 근데 자치 뭐지 인지 총어디 겨성고인 전체 가와 공부랬어.
we should rejoice that we have a perfect human rebirth and we have met this teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha, the first turning, the first teaching of it, and rejoice in that regard.
다 먼저 키시 아니 뎀바시디 수송벌에 쓰와 되나 뎀바시 수송벌에 유카 송벌에 투저 가주 송벌에 송세 뒤제 미미슬라 송벌에 네 송야 추드 카레 스타디 데데 데데 도레 쓰와
Last class, we looked at who taught the Four Noble Truths, what was the place, what was the time, who were the students that were taught, and what Dharma was taught.
디 갸셰도 도두치나 추디 숭니디 도마좀닌데 와마란조 노마네 지겨와 몽고시네 갈레지 마란조 나시 당고 미 페바라 체 갈레지 제로와 벨레돈 첨부체 제로와 수수 제보 제 제보 제 아니 제부 주무당 세당 제부다 제부 지나다 휴지 톱담 휴지 여러다 노롱저 세들 소바 담년달 소바 담 뭐지 여러 두상마 뇌동체 제자마세네 초어디안베 초어 전부 휴지지 갈래 휴지지 간다 갈래 휴지지네 다두기 전주 공방 터디베 간산지 차대열에 상상을 먼저 낭배 취해라도 사실 매직 소리 상단지 지금 하고지 전에 동에서야 단 디지털에 상단은 이때 너레스로 또 좀 된데 깔래 잡지로 깔래 잡 르동치 아니 디지털 되면 쉬지 직기우단 대워직단 야고직간에 디부터야 말이던데 또좀 된데 그 제가 제가 신고해야 되는 것도 디 내단 디 신고해야 돼 계속 못 찾아요 레스로
Mhm. In context of the teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha, who taught this Dharma, it is for many eons, many lifetimes. He sacrificed and put tremendous effort to get to the stage of awakening before he was a normal human, just as we are. But he renounced that the king's power or the wealth, the fame of being with all of those royal siblings and so forth, gave that up to become tremendously stable in mind and put tremendous effort into the state of Buddhahood. There are some that think that the state of enlightenment could be achieved like magic. Suddenly, that one could suddenly remove suffering and actualize bliss, and that it was easy to do. Shakyamuni Buddha showed that it took tremendous effort over a long, sustained period of time, giving up the life, in fact, and sacrificing. So one shouldn't think that it is easy and the result comes without effort. No, certainly not. One should understand the holy deed, the deed that Buddha showed, and the reality of it. It's important to know the reality of it.
어디 네 최송세 내디 야가데 요거나시 나 내디라 송레스로
And the place where this teaching was given was in India, in Varanasi.
아 뒤디 도마준데 다 산제소 타도기 chanju 톰니 근데 나는 페베게로 페베로 지단 쉐위나 근데 시외 최종을 산제로
Yeah.
근데 니만 시비시고 최 마송바체 용다 최 마송바체 근데 네 번더 투베 채워시라네 중국 투진시제 네 투즈 어딘데질라 최데 송무레스로
So the time that Buddha attained to that state of full awakening, according to our Tibetan calendar, the fourth lunar month, the 15th or full moon of that fourth lunar month, third watch of the night. And then after that, for 49 days, not teaching until the sixth lunar month on the fourth, when this teaching was given.
다스 최송세 유디네 기둥아래와 기둥아체 고등아디다 ngomane dewa yeden yorwa nji dewa mangole dewa yeden yor dewa dele dewa yeden yor ne loma ta dujanga konga de sangbo seje chusongsa duje de ko ngale yo mares tanguro
And who were present at that first teaching, what are called the five close disciples that Lord Buddha had made connections with over many lifetimes before those five close disciples.
다 가송야게 최들라 덴바시 시게요레 덴바시 세디 심발라 당고 덴발라야 되고 덴바 야디 시자라 예나 덴바니 세로 네 덴바스나 갈수 거라서 다디 기간에마다 당고電子 남샤 셰월라 디니 남샤 셰월로 디니 남샤 데스 이런 디니 남샤 데스 셰샤나네電子세 시덴바니 세로 람탑시 람탑시니 데부 아니 군이 제 실람대소 남샤디 연구여러 근데 인도 당고 덴바스나 가르치고 그래요. 덴바니 덴바시 덴바 페베티 남배추나 덴바스야디 지금 오실 리도
Mm.
덴바스나 가르치고 그래서 데 주어 그래서 주어 단다 렌저 소르체비나라
So then what was taught, the Four Noble Truths, what is meant by a truth here, four truths, two truths, we can look at it in terms of basis, path, and result, the two truths, and then method and wisdom, and then the resultant two bodies of a Buddha. Anyway, we hear this term truths a lot in Buddha Dharma, two truths, four truths. Good to ask oneself what is meant by the truth and to know how to answer it.
덴발라디 데르왕 먼저 베나 먼저 미디 틱 덴바레 있으라 게저셰바 덴바레 쓰지 미디 정부시에나 게저 정부시에나로 한데 덴바레 쓰으로 하다 로 게저지시에는 미디 정부 여르다 쓰으로 그래서 게저 덴바시 그래서 가시는 그 셰브나시 안 되는 때에 적지시 뭐레슬라인데 틱이 전에 덴바레 써야 돼그저 나디 미디 지지 아니 게저시에인데 정부시에인데 게저시에나시 되는 얘나 아니 다디 이지 최초그래 덴바레 쓰으로 한거 덴바레 쓰으로 되더라
So we can give an example of an honest person that speaks truthfully or speaks with regards to how the outcome will be, that doesn't deceive others or lie. So we can say, oh, so and so speaks the truth. We can, in dependence on what they say, we can have belief around it or conviction.
다드네 양조 빈데 마직 죄자로 샤인데 아니 주 데네 데부총한테 덴바라로 주 마직 가서 그래 구슈 에볼이로 에볼 그셈 마탐나 야 데부 신동 에볼 그 줄게 되네 신데 구슈 따고도 제가 이 덴바로 그 주데 지기 데부 리트윈께와데 덴바차데로 세상은 드드네 레준데라데 덴바레스로 하잖아 레 겨워체월데네 네 데부 디기용데 덴바레스 레 미겨워체데네 데부 동료총와데 덴바레스디 제단데 티 요단이 토야 요마 코랑코랑로
And to express it in terms of cause and effect. If you plant an apple seed, a fruit tree, an apple fruit tree is the result. So that's a truth in the sense of cause and effect being a similar class. And if we look at it in terms of the law of causality and karma, virtues result in well-being, non-virtues result in suffering. So we can say that's true, it's a truth. It's not the case that these things change.
다 망고에게 단다 셰운디 시 군습 덴바당 저는 시제라로 시제 이시디 시제라로 예세 시디 시제라로 시제 최담제거든 얘는 주 예운디 니 군습 덴바 단단 덴바 군습 덴바시 제틱 레이도 덴바 단단 덴바 사이즈 레이도 하지 싫어
So in terms of Buddha Dharma, when we look at phenomena, things to be known by mind, what the subject perceives as an object, then we can say there's a relative truth and an ultimate truth. We can also hear these two terms.
군습 덴바라디 니 코데오도 셰비나 내가 지롱한지 로 내가 지로 군습의 징 요바체 아니 요바데 양고 자제기래 내가 지금 요인자 덴바레스 페나운서 허바디 좀도 단다 통고여라 이나고 허바도 직수이잖아 차로고라 고 직도로 직바데 먼저 로군접 증원에 직바데 기와도와데 시고여라 시바나시 고 텐라 니고 고 직도여라 고 직베란신 차고라 한다 내가 빙고 두당 그린 바지 샤고도 내가 다디 먼저 로군접에 저적제게 로코란로 로군접에 제와 니 간조야 공업디 내갑 그 줍된 요즘이 주지게 아니 내갑 라요 줍된 요즘이 주지 데 코디오 시고 왔다니라 아니 지 당부 군소 때문에 내갑 경우가 줍다라고 지라 군소 때문에 코나에 되게 어렸으라
So in terms of relative truth, it's easy for us to understand it in terms of things being temporary, that they're going through this change. So for example, things function in that temporal way, like a cup here, we use it to drink and it breaks. We know that as it is. So that kind of temporal function of the thing, whatever it is, it's easier for us to understand relative truth in that regard.
다로 군소들라 그 디즈니 초라 직 참아인 게 직다 참아마인 게 지라
Mm-hmm.
지나 참아디 ngола 아니 쉐샤니 디디 니 군소 템바 로 참아 로 군소 바딜라야 로 군소 예 베나 추된 요 로직다 아니 마트위에 로
Mm-hmm.
참아인 요 지니 샤가 요레스로
And then we can further divide relative truth into valid and non-valid, or non-mistaken and mistaken. Mm-hmm.
다 베나 저 추된 요도 당하서 베나 딩상 데모 단으로 데모 다드요니 미실라 데모 나 미드조 에그라도 다 데모 참니 미너조도 통인데 민 미실라 나온제 디가도들 산들라 디스송원에레 단 이지지기더라
Yeah.
나오나 신지 여르스는 요마라 오네시네 디고 야 유진 망고지 초고라 데네 추나지 세션 요지레도 롱니도 들어와 디야고도 롱니 롱니 나오나 신지 투데 여르스는 요마라 와셔던데 나오나 신지 여르 테나 아니 딜로 로디 추시 차로다 요마라 디나시 베나서 다원이 통해도록 다원이 근데 지도 다원이 통도
Mm-hmm.
다원이 열어서는 요 말아와 다원이 요 짐바이나 다원이 로좀 추거리도 하잖아 다원이 찍래 요 말아와 저 다원이제는 다원이 요 말아와잖아 로 추버 추배온 게다
Mm-hmm.
로 딜라 로 군접 추버 들어가 되게 배 유된 유된배 소투고 요 말해서
So we'll look at the non-valid or mistaken relative truth as an example. We take the example of a movie within which there are actors performing. And when we watch the movie, we think it's real, but actually what's appearing, the way it appears, is the way it doesn't exist in finality or in reality. But if we cling to that perception as if it appears, then we are mistaken. Similarly, if we somehow see through mistaken awareness two moons appearing to us, when in fact there's only one, and we cling to that mistaken appearance as valid, that's like a non-valid or mistaken truth, relative truth. It doesn't get at its object in a valid way.
디다 추버라고
Yeah, these are gross examples of mistaken awareness, mistaken consciousness.
먼저 어디 출시라고 해서 추외인바 시고로 디신야 뭐라고 해서 가는 상담나 그래서 야고라 추야 펜토보다라
Yeah, so when we have examples of mistaken awareness that grows, then it helps us to know, what does it mean by mistaken truths?
다
Deceptive.
다디 양코 다워직 베나 다워직 나베 미시디 참마라 와치나 다워직 통용데 데 통나신지나 다워직 통라 내대야로 다워직 먼저 미실레 남겨요레 나오나신 게 심네 다워직 요레 짐베이나 데 통라 통바라 다데 덴바라 와치나 게 시와라 다워직 나오나신 네 대자 코디 덴바라 와치나디 제단디 조직로 다워직 dim에 참마디 군조 조직 참마셰 한 다워직디 특군조 때문에 차대라고 가서는 조직 로코랑 군조 버려 군조 써야 돼 로코랑 차네 망자 로군조 병어 유일로 투인자 군조 때문에 로 군조 병어라 유디 된데 비인자 로 다워직 dim에 셔워딩 올라 다워직디 여러다 간다
Mm-hmm.
딩올라고 덴바라고 하죠 군조 덴바 써야 돼로 군조 징올라 야 여바 인자 아니 디다코 짐바나시 되는 애들 인자 아니 덴바레스다 kunzu tenpa asa de ta de samlo mangpo tanya yor ta de samlo chi kunzu de la kunzu tanda de kunzu rakba re ro kunzu rakba kunzu thamo de tungni to sewe jele me she to thugwa mara kunzu thamo de ro
So now when we perceive one moon as the one moon, that's the reality, whether one sees it with one's eye consciousness or latterly settles on it mentally, that you've seen one moon. So that's what expressed. This is a relative truth for the mind. So here, the relative truth, because the mind is seeing that thing as it is, relatively on a gross level. But it is not until you realize emptiness that you see, the subtle level of relative truth.
che da ta de lo di nganzu lo rakba ro lo rakba de je ta tanda nganzu tanda ngaran je ge ba nganzu ge chogwe la ne konda ma nye sa lo kunzu be ngol chen chen le ga che to yo ta ne ga ge yu chen chen jin to de me shi ji kunzu thamo di la chen ni sam dan to yo ma re kunzu rakba de wa 망고 진짜 투제로 왔다 나와 투제 아니 배데 미 두자로 버지 난데 여러 버지 잘라줘서 닝저고 만저로 야고르지 건데 여러 버지 저 가리나 지금 만디고로 버지 그냥 나와셔야 되죠 배데 투니로 아니 투버디 왕게 나도 심 투제 아니 강이 직심 쇼지 투디 카시 컬러든데 맡으면 차려야 되는데 뭐 컬러로 또 컨트롤식 삼마지we 쇼제도 컬러도 맡으면 여 잘라든데 마토인 가시에 믹시에다든데 더 추다한테는 담는다 여러 로 스스 옹보 레벨 옹 추치 아니 왜이 축니로 심 축제로 심 축도 컨트롤사도 먼저 미상모 독자 통고도 티내가라 베티 통해야 돼서 뭐이 셰당게 축베인자 아니 베데다 미상모 독자 통해야 돼 가르딘 된 것은 하와드에서 스스 컨트롤사에 미드다 독자 실 통과하다 하르세는 그 컨트롤되게 심 tuk송하다 한다 봐. 추단데라 줌진 땀 면대여다 봐. 시선돼서 항상 신나 배워라. 신 아다 나 추바디 오게 당아 녀도 세대 그들아 밀어야 지 감사한 주구두야 나는 미디어 오면도 라르데 민교 차로 그러 수수 심 추베 온게 아니 찬난 삼어 추도 여러 디 그래서 추베 온게 먼저 거르집되게 여러 다데 당문에 로 군조베 주당 그 주당도 다도 뭐니 지랑 뭐니 지라 도 다다 다 베전네 셰브나시 가도 다다 레데 다 한다로
So it is the case from the morning until night. We are operating mainly with this kind of relative level of truth, but also not only that, it is at quite the surface or gross level. We're temporarily kind of flitting over things. We don't really get to a more subtle level of consciousness perceptions. So, we think because of the way we perceive a person, then we label bad person or beautiful thing, or then we're going along and then things don't appear to be okay for us. Somehow all of this is occurring because we have lots of mistaken awarenesses. These are mistaken consciousnesses. Sometimes we don't see food as it is or things as they are. Sometimes even we're mistaken with regards to objects due to the senses of our glasses, whatever, or the sense organs mistakenly misapprehend their objects. Or, latterly, the mind becomes mistaken because someone sets oneself off and you get irritable and angry. So rather than really reflecting and thinking, this is my hallucination, this is my mistaken awareness, this is my projection, we believe that this appearance is the case. And therefore we can say the reasons for our mistaken perceptions are a lot. And it would be pertinent not to point the finger straight away, but to recognize in the context of the text we study in Buddha Dharma, how do you identify what's a valid perception, a valid truth, and what is not?
다이 축배 왕기들 망부절 연대기 열어다
Yeah,
요 담마다 온고 축배 왕기로
yeah,
미 다원이 통해로 잘라딘데 포버직도 포버니 통도 된데도 원시 온부터 축도 되라 미가 온부 축도야 근데 온부 축배 왕기 연구하러
yeah.
근데 연구하러
So the mind can be mistaken on, as we mentioned, the sensorial level, mistaking one moon for two, or even looking at the cup and sometimes seeing two, seeing double.
그래서 단다 투지 된래 요새야 뭐 모던한도 랑가기 강바도 더는 시작도 알아
Yeah.
너마 당고 저런도 가실래 냠뇨 이제래 릴리로 릴리로 메고 릴나나 당고 얘네 딜리니 뱅로 치라 너마 당고 니모숨 도고도 니모숨 당고 끼우시다 릴리나 팀마 당고다 요르다 뱅로 릴리 밥도 더라 마파라 강바상만 더디거든 그 한국상은 도데 유르 다다고 릴리난 도도도 되게 그 왕보단 더 두두로 스타인스로 강보다서 유르 도데 같은데 그런서 가지 냐면데 이르러 세상 네 정말로 구제제 된 거지 통된 거라서 로야
So you might have had, I had this experience the first time I went, like on a train, particularly from Delhi to Bangalore, which is quite far. It used to take like 3 days. The first day I was really happy to be on that journey. But when you go past the houses, it looks like everything is whirring and moving, this kind of movement. And when I got to the end of the journey to Bangalore and got out, things were still kind of moving. Things were like being shaken. So maybe you've experienced that, like when you're going in a car and things are whirring past.
그 덤블링 거랑 꼬리 잡도 되고라
Yeah, it's like your world is turning from that.
제가 항상 상황원에서 꼬리 잡도 되도 아니거든
In danger that everything will turn.
아니 디 다이어라 다텐데 셰텐데 망고 니나 간사질라 다 상마 셰가 다텐데 차는 거다로
Yeah.
텐데 셰가
And then sometimes when you hear music, or you're so focused on the sound, and all you hear is like that music. You hear it through sounds.
그래서 when I think first time we got some Chinese series translated from Tibetan language. They have maybe 150 chapters. Very nice story. They're live, looks like Lost Karma story movie. Lost Karmas. It's called, maybe the Baisudin, The Dugalamo, the snake story, do story.
Snakes.
It's so nice in passive here to this Tibetan language. And then also the story is very, very interesting story was. And then I think we have 6 months. We have holiday and we watch it. I think 3 days we watch it continuous in 3 days without stop. We can't stop. The next one. Oh, what's going on? It's turn on. We watch. After 3 days, everyone falling down, sleeping. One day, lose we slept there. Then we need to go back monastery by Meso to Sarah. Takes nearly 3 hours. And next morning, we were in a bus station. All sound was movie sound. The movie had lots of talking. I thought AI is walking. I did like this, and sound is. I never heard the Indian people speaking or bus sound or There lots of India, lots of music, I never heard this music sound, buzz sound, Indian viewers, big, loud, big, loud talking, I never heard like this. Only I heard this movie speaking, talking. And I thought, my friend, oh, I think my ear, what ear?
Yeah, my ears.
Ear was, I think, broken. I heard other things. He said, what he said? He said, exactly the same. And then we went 1.5 hours and slept. We don't have 3 days no sleep. We sleep. And then home there's parts between one person destroy. Then half movies speaking, half the Indian speaking. How about 50-50? Just that the two, two years later,
Yeah,
two you then on what lady,
yeah.
two down the little chance. General Cashet in the Chunu, get it.
So that's how the senses deceive, and you've probably had that experience.
세상에 당소 nga thaya dang gom jane ni mangbo ji isha che de kyo yesre ba ani nawa ya bo ji sha nawa du ja sum pa tha se jo ro ta ngonzo sanje la ngonzo ge dung yin na ye de sanje la dung yin nang yo mar ba dewa shar go yo ra sha na
Yeah,
sedan de da wa ji nga tang gi ke sang ma movie ke ko na shi ra wa ji nga de 제가 공부 줄도 있는데 차에 서랬다. 먼저 산지에 대화된 뇨뇨요 말들래. 뒤내가 들라. 다가기 시에게 다요 말이. 아니 시에 땅그라라. 아니 버스 디즈니는 싱슈요라라.
yeah.
버스
Di
디즈니.
na shinju. What?
제 버스
Sanga.
디즈니는 이나 뒤내가라 날 깨디게 그거요 말아. 말라디
Leon.
버스 깨 그거요 말이 자가 시에 깨 그거 말이 자가 깨 그거요 말이 그래서 게 자그라 어디 홍수 question ask 게 쉬우자라 아니 되게 그거 뭐라 게 때문에 전혀 거대 거라 응애들 튕거 다저 질러 산으로 제대로 차로 그러더라 와다 먼저 단다 동에 그다 거야 저 산지에 살려도 배 대화 차로 싫어 그래서 네 상담도
So sometimes when one meditates and recites mantra, it's almost like you can block out the bad sounds, isn't it? For example, the Buddhas won't experience suffering like we do. The Buddhas are only experiencing bliss. They don't experience the sounds and so forth that we experience, like when when you're in a bus stop, like in India, and it's really noisy, and they're all calling like for the destinations, like Honsor or Mysore. But because we were half absorbed in the movies, we didn't really hear them calling, shouting. And I think if you're in Buddha's place, it's kind of like that. Your mind is a totally different perceptive field where you don't hear these gross sounds and things. So yeah.
얘다 대 따딩 하나도 생기 참 세외 참나질 때는 것도 더 되거라.
Yeah. So here we're kind of going on a part of the way the mind is perceiving. Just a part. Yeah.
제가 군습 때 봤어야 돼. 당도 더 군습 때문에 거는 더 되게요라.
So we're all at the behest of these relative truths, these temporal appearances.
다 되네 전단데 몰라들 라인데 다 코데버션 내루 타도 되래라. 다 타도 내루 내루데 샤고라 다 내가 그도 단데 군습 때 마시 타도 그도 단 거거든. 아니 전단데 마시 샤고라 다 딜레 파토네 도사면 줘지다. 디네 파
Stumpamendua.
숨바요 말을 하지라. 아니 전단데 마사데 코데버션 어디로
So now when we talk about ultimate truth, the easiest way is just to say that it is the final mode of being, the way things are in reality. So whereas relative truth is the temporal nature, ultimate truth is the final mode. So there's no third truth. All the phenomena are falling within these two.
제가 전단데 뭐디 로 전담된 걸로 된 벌써 로 전담을 쓰네. lo yang ta war ba ne lu cha zang ya wo xian yi lo ji ngol de ba yin zang de ba de no de na xin yo ba na xin tuan le ne ba yin zang ne lo tuan lo yang ta war ba
Yeah.
ta
Now, this ultimate truth is said to be a valid mind, an excellent mind, because it perceives the object as it is. As it accords, it settles.
ta tanda nganzo ge lo di lo ne go be lo chi ro ta lo di ya ge do ne ro ji pe na tang ye la tu ni la de lang ka bu da ro pe na mi da go sang da ro mi da go tong mi da ra go ro mi da ra go de dong de xing ge da ro kang ba ji do da pa ba cha do da ne mi shi do da de dong zo tong da ro
맞아.
thì mình ta qua ra qua thì mình ta qua ra qua thì thằng bu ngusum de sinh cái rồi để là thằng đó samlo shi ra tăng cái mà rồi để rồi xe về để là samlo ta na anh ấy osim na là ta shivi gì cái sẽ để cháu cái chuyện mình đó có dịch đồ đồ shi đồ đồ thì để anh tung nghe mong cái gì nhung đồ ra rồi
So the case that our minds at the current juncture are mostly working on a temporal level with relative truths, we need to improve them, improve their perceptions. Of course, we'll leave aside understanding that things lack intrinsic nature for the moment, emptiness, but just looking at impermanence, even improving our minds with regards to that. Well, the gross level of impermanence we can see. Houses disintegrate, cups break, people die. These things we can see, it is a gross level. We see them directly, but we don't really pay them heed, or we don't think about them deeply enough. And in that sense, we cling too much to this life. If we really thought about those impermanent things, it would greatly reduce our suffering because we'd more see the reality.
You believe you understood more reality right
Yeah,
reality and then you had less suffering
suffering.
For example Buddha lifetime one mother mother has one son she loves this son the son passed away and then she cried she go I want to bring back my son and then she heard I think Buddha has lost power and then she said lots of suffering she requests could you please bring my sons back right? Yeah, bring back I love my son and she had lots of suffering and then Buddha told him, okay, I give you, I can do your sons will be back, right?
Yeah.
But you need to go to the each parents knocking door, right?
Yeah, knock on the door of each
Knocking the door
family,
of each family,
parents.
and bring some one rice, single rice, and then she said, of course I will bring, but you need to ask. You no one right, misuji Mashiva Chiro,
Yeah,
Shimanyoni Jiginang, Dega
yeah.
Chesson.
Buddha said to them, bring a grain of rice from the family who hasn't experienced death in the family. Bring a grain of rice back.
And I guess it out to the die or that was a Mizajina, so the Pola Mola, Shimani Yamara, Kashe Pugu Tondore, Kashe Amatore, Kashe Susu Tobutomotore, Kashe Gemetore, Kashe Chogatore. Another Mizajina, Mitomani, Mije Mera. No, how was that? Dita one da dogda menjo jire sha changmalo la do da ti ro ti ko je ne xie de ngo be ran xi re se ro ta ti jo de mi da go ngo ti demba ji ro da je ne xi ge yo de demba ro da da je ne xi du go de demba ro ko jo da yo mo ro mong mang go ji da je ne xie me se de wo yo da
Yeah, I think so.
na de da bet de tu zu chola knowledge to nyombe le ga do re da yin xie me yu su yin da ya ga ma nan du yin da nan du yin la na xie de ga na nge xe na ma du yin xi de ne ga ko so me ji go ji lu mo kan je ro ya do che da 아니 제일 아마디다 다 대가라 내셔 땅아 가르쳐 버렸어 좀 되네 다디 편하게 네 풀 풀 천하게 심나는 부대대 그래서 Simnal put there you in the Delamalam job. Susu ji pe le ya wo yuna, Yawaji me putting on your 2 young there, Ama de pe, Sambal Chasm or Dungi me chasm or some not under.
She went to every household, trying to find a household where there hadn't been death, but in each house there were stories from the families that, you know, the grandparents had died, the mum had died, the parents had died, the kids had died, the uncles had died. Didn't find one house where there hadn't been a case of a death. She saw then that the nature of the suffering of that everything is born, will die. And that's just the nature of things. And she saw, you know, that was seen. It's born, going to die. And this is truth that can't be reversed. And these days, people might put so much effort into not dying. Or it's like a crazy obsession almost. Maybe perhaps if we get to the moon or a star, there'll be a deathless state. But there's a danger there that they will die before us if they do that. So then the mother saw that and went back to the Buddha and said to Buddha, well, what shall I do? Shakyamuni Buddha said, well, the child that you're grieving for is in your mind, right? And she said, yeah. And then Buddha said, well, pray for that child. And if, you know, the karmic connections are good, you'll definitely meet again due to the law of causality, at which stage the mother's mind completely relaxed and she suffered less.
제가 먼저 단단 전단 된 봤어야 돼. 쪼바단 체베 로 박외기 냠샤이시디 로 전단 말어 봐. 딩원은 된 인자. 안 동문이들라 전단 된 봤신. 동문이 무슨 뜻도 벌라인데. 로 박외 냠샤이시 신경으로. 제가 된난시 변화 미다고에 다 그래. 미다고 아무디 그 박외 어떻게진데 미다고 말라 인데 투도 그거. 뒤뚱더네. 그렇다. 미다고도 말라. 디마샤 미다고 라모가체 다 동니 디 파관냠샤의 신 디로 턴다 마체 디 ngol demba inza 다 간다 수때나 동니 텔을 하고 지 ng고 타도 도서메 된 주시다 다 간다.
Now, in terms of ultimate truth, we can talk about Arya beings and meditative wisdom on equipoise, where their perception of the object is completely free of elaboration. There's no projection onto the object, so therefore they are directly seeing, or it's a wisdom consciousness realizing emptiness. And here, because they're getting to the final mode of the object, there's nothing more to know. There's no other limit. No.
가르스나다 파관냠샤의 시디 ngol 아니 니나게 쪼바당 쪼바 제요 말이야. 쪼바 탐제 시우래다. 쪼바 시베 인자 아니 딜라다 대와다 요메 대와디 용구요래로.
Yeah. Why? Because the Arya beings in meditative equipoise on the profound are free from all elaborations. They're pacified. There's no dualistic appearance.
다베나 다데도 먼저 요와 사토고 계시되라.
Yeah.
단다 말한저기로 빼나 그런 우주공 공제도 우주공 공제인데 우주공 마자콘으로 봐. 그래서 우주공 마자콘은 그래서 삼단다데 누이심 버셔로 다단당에 심난가 남도로 담을 샤용 것도 미들 지니니 숨숨 최고요. 당엄마마 대변해줄래 된데된데 해서 배사서 당아 마음발 지지 최고로다 가르치고 있는서 심난라 배트나로 좀 거지 야야 dum리스 마마 dum리스지 디기도 알아 그래서 되기라다 디디 이거나 때문이다로 식때 때문이지 다 무비지 따라 비리 무비지 따라.
So we're talking about a high level of beings meditative state here, but think about ourselves and our experience before we do meditation and we do the breathing meditation. Before we're doing that, our minds are full of conceptual thoughts, discursive thoughts. we are revolving, discursing, like someone said this, and they did that, they said one, two, three, in the past this happened, in the future this might happen. So we're like, it's like watching our mind as a movie. All of this play is going on.
근데 저기 징도 휴지 테데도로 삼년을 가지 콩제 거를 쉬 탑제라
Yeah.
안디가라 남다 톡바다 남도에는 삼바 마지와 차용
Yeah.
거라
And all of that, those discursive thoughts that are whirring by, if you cling to it, if you cling to it, then it gets like anxiety, worry, all of that.
안디가둘라 다도 삼노다 참샤제 우중 공전으로
Yeah.
우중 공대 잡자지 가만히 숨지 잡자 근데 우중 공자서 잡사회 지에들 숨지 따다라 당기기 지 슬림블레를 요 지 투된 줄 상관 매된 줄 지. 하고 숨부를 잠딩들 중우다.
Yeah.
다디 디가 하고 저라. 다디 야야야야야야. 단대가 저기 내가 디야. 지 유전지 테스트는 남산 투르고다.
Yeah.
치료대 키지 깨점나 투사래라. 미지기 가와게 띵띵 나서는 차타래. 그때 가와시 좀 마셔시. 때 캐나다 kel라고 말들래. 텐데 미도자도 탱그라. 곰상 투사다 간다. 겐 진주지게 당기게 심 우중 잡자 심 시와데 겐 진주지게 키기 깨지 겸나 투사다 간다.
So, but if one does breathing meditation, breathing exercise for 2 or 3 minutes, and then just rests it, and again observes mind, a mind that was previously busy with discursive thought is peaceful and relaxed. And for us, in terms of our meditative experience, we want that to get better and better, better, progress it. Because at the current juncture, we're so at the whim of causality, at the whim of external things, that if we hear one sound, like a dog barking, or someone's phone goes off, when you're meditating, it's too late. You've already distracted, and you think, oh, that's a bad person, or stuff that dog, So here, a small thing makes your mind hallucinate.
제가 먼저 심기 아니 수수 시버디 간라 네tum나 치료게 다 가리유는 디캠 요마도
Yeah.
그다는 다리
If you're able to place your mind in quietude, whatever sounds are coming from outside, sound is sound.
제가 아니 더 하버드 근데 지 곰으로 뭐 잡는데 아니 근데 깨로 레는데 깨디 간라 심 많이 마셔야지 수수 곰 당기 깨야 돼 곰디 양자 뿌 타로 다야라 펜토에 줘야 되는데 용거로 당아 데스 디간라 컨시더레이션 숙처마다는 인도를 상디 그 시신이 숙처다나 아니 깨디게 뭐 파제수 말아 마스도 근데 마르 되는 치기 겐로 가르테비는 수수 셈디 마투버치 냐투그로 다 당고가서 딘시기 냠내신 발라 도저야 고지 라초그로 도저 라초는 아니 딘시스니데 하고 라초야는 편도신 뭐야로
So then, if you're meditating and your mind is stable and not wavering, in these circumstances where you hear sounds, it actually is a condition to make your non-wavering mind stronger. Because when you hear the sounds, you apply introspection to tell yourself, watch out, keep on target. And as you increase that more and more, then those hallucinations or being deceived by the sounds become less. And this is important for us in the context of the Four Noble Truths, that awareness.
아디 92 I went to Dharamsala and then my uncle he was retreat he and his friend one he's very humble monk and he do lots of practice And one day we went to Panduling. It's called Panduling. He was lived there. Behind the nunnery condition. And need crossed this nunnery. And then Nero road. And on the top the Indian building, building, large building, construction. And then suddenly the cement port, it was cement port. Sound coming, dong, dong, dong. And he had on the head. That hit them.
Hit his head on concrete?
Yeah, going to the port. The glass looks at you.
Yeah.
Just go on tail.
Yeah.
Go, he like that. And the blood coming. And he said, poor Indian men, they don't enough concentration for their job.
Yeah.
They never upset. Well, I see his face. He's still thinking this Indian sport is not good enough concentration their job. He thinking this, but he normally worry. He said, "Oh, lost blood coming here," and then and the spider house. He said there are some spider house, and we found it a spider. Hello,
Spider web.
Spider web. We found it, and he put there. And stop his blood. And nothing panic, nothing show angry. Oh, that is all now. Chambaro, chilo, call a shune,
If you're pacified mentally, these external things happen to you, but it doesn't upset you. There's nothing to strike out at.
And a little bit yell. What are you doing? He said, don't do that, don't do that. A little bit yelling. I beg you need care. He said, oh, pick a go. He's not there.
It was also said that the sound is not an obstacle. The sound is a condition to improve.
곰 지나다 된다디 전당군 남샤 동로당이 곰 잡네 저랑서도 곰 제거라 아니 곰 잡지다 스스기 야고를 요제라 곰마 되네 미다님도 쉽지 한 내주 친주지를 컨트롤사나 한곰 야고를 해요 말이더라 곰 되다 돼요 말이서
It's good for us because we meditate it, and then in that sense it's good to know these final modes, these truths we're meditating on. But if you meditate a lot and then you break meditation and then you meet someone, interact with them, and just a tiny condition upon which you get angry. Yeah, really a sign of a meditation that's been successful is when you interact with others and you are pacified and patient with them.
동반이 남샤시 최 탐제 때내 총을 해서와 지금 때내 총을 해서 난 때내 맞추니 최요 말을 단한 안 한저 셈나라 가르쳐고 그래서는 때내 맞추니 단다 도와지지 가나 되면 라고 그러지 나와셔 거로
야
나와셔 그래 나와셔도 때문에 레테나 아니 뒤다 짐바 로시 차다는 거 뒤에는 지 차단 타고도야 혼도 타고 축축 못 차야 돼 짐벌 되네 용어로 나와도 지메야다 사통보 마소사보 누구 나와 용어래로 저 라만에 돼 나와디 용어래 돈이 또 세베 제레 라만에 돼 나와 용어래로
yeah. So it's good to know then, in terms of this final mode of being, the ultimate truths, that they are dependent arisings, that all phenomena are independent. Latterly, no phenomena are not interdependent. However, phenomena appear to us as if they exist from their own side, being autonomous. We believe that appearance of true existence and we cling to it. Therefore, we are mistaken There's a difference here between the way it appears and you clinging to it. So until you get to the first ground, when you directly see emptiness, you will always, you will always cling to appearances. And even after that first ground, things will still appear to you in a, what's the word, deceptive manner, as if they exist truly, but you'll know they don't.
Pena ndo pedia were bra ndo longni dagra dem ubi dagra tadi nawasha dinala pijo dumro nawasha ngoro thangbo demata de shiradi leg marga thoro tadi da temure sambe dushi diara nawa de dingemara kazam jila temudi dumdela susu ingro shuje susu tadi temuna nawasha de ngone re theunde 아니 신데 아니 가제 미주 다야 무야로 깨셔야 된대 용구도 가르쳐 세워서 피 때문에 난데 나와디 원래를 템버라 데 템을 때네 아니 먼저 미주 다야디 무야디 용구도 야 딩원래를 맞으나는 누구 말아 왔다 지상 먼저 디페디 간 망보단 거래 디 빼야고요 들어
A good example of this is a movie, but when we first watch the movie, we don't pay it much attention. We go, oh, it's just a movie, nothing there. But slowly we don't cling to it much because we fob it off and say it's just a movie. But slowly we might get interested in the movie or story and think it's real. And then we get so moved that we cry by watching the movie. So that in that case, we think it's true. But actually, if we see that it's not truly existent, then we won't cry because we won't cling.
One time in monastery, the 1 year, 2 times holiday, and summer time, 1 week. In winter, this time, more than 2 weeks holiday. At that time, they allowed watching movie, Anyway, we borrowed TV and then by CD that time. Before no CD, other one was for watch together, right? Tap to disc.
Videos.
Oh yeah. Video. And they want that I think very early. We have more than 15 monks watching one history from Taiwan. I think 2 story. Mother and son was separate, right? Mother was very poor, and his boyfriend family is very rich, and their family don't want to marry with him, and their family make separate, right? And mother have 4 children. The mother will have to look after these children, and then his the children's father has different wives, married. They don't have children. The family want again his son back, and they took the son. The mother was become crazy, Laura.
Crazy.
There's some kind of these stories, true or very emotional. I want to cry. 15 months cry. Halfway, we need to stop. Otherwise, we can't watch it. I think you watch 100% sure you can cry. Very simple shit.
It's a sad movie.
I think I never ever see watching this movie. Nobody had tears, I've
never seen a movie where there wasn't one person who didn't cry like that.
And then and someone we teasing he's among my friend. He said, I'm very tough. I'm okay. I'm not cry. Okay. And we turn on this and. Early, he stood up, he ran around, and he did like that.
Runs out.
Yeah. The Dumle Chodara. Dumle. Similar to
yeah. It's different from a story, but once you look at it and you think it's real, feeling comes.
그래서 나 dum거랑 뭐였는지 dum리 랍사라와
Yeah,
이들이 다 딩어도 뭐에 레 텐데라 이집레라 데레다 방고디 게제 당고디 내레라
yeah.
응
You know,
응.
think that, yeah, you think that the story is reality and then you're caught.
제가 당한테 디나시리 뭐부 탐지 유원에 두 나와디 딱 원에 레 텐데 유원에 수 나와디 가리나 유원에 수 용거 어디 이제 제인데 아니 교연직이 미디 제소 하고디 폴리티카기 제소 찍찍 제소 남산 누구누구 다 봐라 제가 이 삼로직 망고시다나 망고직 수수수스나래 되어요 칠레 되어요래다 봐 봐라 되어요래 되어다 망고지 요래 이나간주 뒤긴 그 삼로 때 자자 자탐바 칠로네 수요바티 레어마 망고지 나로네 수요다 뭐 디시에마이나 낭주다 내주 미팅 버스도 먼저 나와다 뭐네주니 통고요 맞다 간다 디체는 군습 차고 당한들
So things appear to us to exist autonomously or truly, and we cling to those things as if they are like that. We cling to things appearing as if they are like that, and then we kind of solidify it. Oh, that person did that. That politician's like that. In a sense, you're always pointing the finger out there at something being like that. Well, there might be something there in terms of your connection with the object, but the problem is you've reified it 100% outside and not understood that the majority of it is coming from your perception. So here, what is made by your mind. So here, what it is said that there's a disconjunct between the way things appear and the way they are in their final mode of being. So therefore, for us, relative truths.
제가 낭주네 미팅 배 내갑들라 아니 가서 녀도 차들 디 코레다
Yeah. So mistaking the appearance and not seeing the final mode, misperceiving the way the object is, that's the trouble of samsara. That's samsara right there, the cycle.
Say that again.
Especially younger.
아
낭주도
낭주다 내주 미팅 배 내갑지로
Yeah.
아니 다른 코레
Not seeing the final mode of the nature of the object and mistaking the appearance for that, that is samsara.
자 낭주네 tumba 디 팔로르디 코레 데 냥데르다
But when you see both the appearance and its final mode of abiding, or what appears to you, you see it in its as it is, then you go beyond samsara to nirvana.
제가 코다 냥데라디 삼루직단 카팔로슬로 서지레 아주 심 차나저로
So, you know, when you think of cyclic existence and nirvana, it's like two sides of the one, and our mind is like flitting between. It can flit between.
그냥 나 아주 bedila bed 슈네로 나주네 좀 믿음 받을 차제 가제 디나라 힘들다
But that disconjunct between appearance and the way it is, we're caught there. We're caught right there. So we cling. You know, we cling to its appearance.
근데 자꾸 실지네
And that clinging is so trouble. It's so kind of like ingrained. Yeah, so ingrained. So strong.
다 싸움 야고 다 식식소
And now you have to make an earthquake and shake up that clinging, that ingrained.
그래서 동반이게 더 최든지 때내 중에 이나 매나 동반이 여다 매나 최든지 때내 중에 이나 매나 데버투와 이나 매나 텐좀지 사비나 아니 다 싸움 야고다 간다 싸움 야사 세버슈니데 예 파골라 시디 지게면은 손도
Yeah.
소나 민비 최대라 텐좀자야 삼메주스 소나 멤버당 레게메니기 동반이다 덴딩 남셔들라 텐좀 사용 말해서로
Yeah.
텐좀 수요가 삼지 그냥 시버 수분이도 주서 시버 수루 단거를 삼자다 대 식식 수요자다 간다
So whether emptiness is the case or not, whether all phenomena are dependently arisen or not, whether things are truly existent or not, just having that doubt in your mind. It's going to shake like an earthquake. As Ari Davis,
예, 봐봐라.
Ari Davis says, those with no merit will never doubt whether things intrinsically exist or not. But those with a skerrick of merit, just by doubting things' intrinsic nature, cyclic existence will shake. So we've made the first tremor of the earthquake.
제가 당초에 나네 미팅부 추바들라 아니 거를 잡지도 당초 깔리 가고 왔다.
Yeah.
깔리 가는다.
Yeah, so us mistaking the appearance and not getting to the final way things are, that gives us so much difficulty. We cycle in that context.
예수원에서는 라시오만다.
Yeah, and actually there's no rest from that for us.
제단단다 제르무진데 손다. 반대대외리 시기 외가트면 통해서 외가트면 세진의 라면팅이 통해서 다기는 예수 톱스다. 지난 반대 다와타고 그러니까 딘딘의 동반이 기남샤 퇴원들라네. 직 삼루티스탄에 나라 신도 예수 톱스스로 거와들 나네 튜머디 삼루디 거와진이 이제 동반이라 대마마도라 레샤 예심나 차나 난주 준바디 민도 스파지가 심나라 예수 팁스 손다 제르무진 딩일랑 예수라고요 당한주 단단 예수라요 세상한주 스트레스 앵자 디비전을 가서나 찾고 싶지 징거라 알아야지 찾고 싶지 징거라 딜데네 이게 찾고 서고요 나나서 학과대 모든 에듀케이션에서도 배드 진지 쉽지라고도 안 진지라고도 아야 진지 찾고 서고도 알아
That's why Lama Tsongkhapa praises Chandrakirti when he says that thanks to your teaching on reality, the final mode of things, I reflected upon it, and now I've come to rest from the cycle of existence, meaning that I got to really reflect whether the way things appear is the way they exist in reality or not. And having found out that appearances are deceptive and it's not the final mode of the object's abidance, then I can rest. My mind has come to rest. But for us, until we get to that level of understanding reality, we always have stress, anxiety, and all of our stresses and anxieties are coming from a very fierce clinging, strong clinging, particularly even in schools. This kind of self-cherishing is so prevalent. Yeah. Yeah, it makes it kind of stronger. This I.
Oh yeah, 인자. 다 인자는 저 시demban이라 되네. 아니 demba시 남샤디 용거. 다 군조 dem발 되네. 군조 dem바다 고내용. 아니 전단 dem발 되네. 아니 람데인다 고내 남샤디. 다 쪼바디 당연히 아니 심기 찬한 쪼바디 시용도 디 식베 식저디 바예베 차 심지 나네메 dem바 무슨 추대바디 파식베 차들라 고내서 거래 탈바스 디로.
So now, coming back to our Four Noble Truths, well, first we looked at two truths, didn't we, relative and ultimate. But if we break the Four Noble Truths down to two sets, in terms of the relative truth, we have true sufferings and true origins. And on the ultimate side, ultimate truth, we have true paths and true cessations. So really, when the mind ceases to elaborate or project and is pacified of those mistaken elaborations, that's true cessation, which is nirvana.
지난다 달에 둔다들랑 알아서 삼무단제 먼저게 나를 심나라 차나 나오는 신지 뭐니 지레도게 됐다고 다근다 딜라 당보 빼도 다나야 왜로 추나는 다와셔도 다왜 왜 니셔나 나와셔기도 와 다와 요마랑 아주 신기도 때문다디 때문나 미드도 하다 되다는 거도 나나지다 요마래서 어디 상은 양스 다는데 아니 지메 때문 가져 다나 similar emotion get matuna and she's with the ji miji yabore ji live in the lamsa that did that doesn't that thing and ya wina menas lamsa 이제도 지금 알아봐. 이제도 마셔나 아니 수수심 강의도 총어야 돼. 아무 어디 내가 상담도 미나. 네, 야고 요래서 방은 저러.
The following week, it is good for us to check up the way that things are appearing to your mind. Does that accord, do you think, with the way they are in reality? And use examples to help you, like thinking that the reflection of the moon and water is the moon, or seeing a movie and believing what's going on in the movie is real, and kind of concluding that things don't exist as they appear. Because we believe things on an appearance level exist as they appear, we start to have strong emotions. And then you hear, oh, so-and-so's, a good person, and you believe just by hearing the sound, and that's a good person, rather than recourse to that straight away, or a bad person, it is good to check up.
And this is a similar age. 남자지 야고래 두자를 나와샤다 남자 어디디 되게 생고 차나를 중요한 이제 예나면은 좀 다른데 미 수수의 배 야고래 레벨 남자 야고 니자 마차야 봐. 미지 두자를 나와샤는데 두고 니자 선데 되게 세나라 아니 직 자자로 직이나 아니 니가 주 정아 앞주자 아니 되네 배대 거나 아니 저런저 처와디 오밍라 페이지치기도 알아. 다 too much 시기도 아니 당황해서 거의 시기도 그래서는 어디네 샘 sometimes 야자샤로 직간을 니디 주디 자야 뭐 장업바샤 다 다른 군조들은 사실 자장가요나 나도 앉아 샤고로 근데 주는 봐 매워서도 내죠 매워 som어도 나도 앉아 샤는 이 개민도 시 투기하게 말아 야장하자 그 심뚝도 말아 자자다 dun지 자지 신사도 사자다 베트코나 투로다 세는데 삼단단다 심지 라레고 요령하는 주디 단단한 걸로 좀 지야도 다 만차 수수 초원거다 대화 연결진야래로 인자니 그거 삼단단 다 데레샤서 수수 네버를 니은데 로전 제거디 펜도이버도 하고 하고디 덴바니기 남이데 마시나나 남도로 랑을 슈스로 반된 다와도 벌써 디니 남 우마주베나 디니 남이 강미시바 디나 남도 로베 랑닐 람녜벌 슈도 요레시 디니 남샤드 마시나 제가 디니 남샤 시고야디 개주모 쇼레로 군조 유튜브 단다 전단 유튜브 단도 시베나시 스스로 삼단다 담이나 당고 스스 동의 총으로나 아니 예용미 동의 총으로 가려고 도구로 수술을 땜배 동의 총으로도 땅 말아 봐셔서 어디 더 총은 삼단이라 근데 좀 요레스로
It is important to think on the two truths in terms of one's reflection and study in the context of applying it to one's life immediately. So, for example, when a mind is feeling good or a mind is feeling bad, happy or sad, why is that the case? Or someone says you're good or someone says you're bad, or you're perceiving someone as good or bad, and then what is probably 10% the case, you've extrapolated upon it, superimposed another 10, 20, 30, right up to 100, and then you believe that is the case out there. So initially what you perceived was perhaps 10% valid, but you added a whole lot. And then you get to believe that that is so real, you go, oh, I need a rest. I can't handle it. You're overwhelmed with this. Can't deal with things. And there's, so it is good to really reflect on the two truths, the way the mind is perceiving. And what happens then is when you really start to check the way you're perceiving things, is that the truth? Is that the way it is or not? And that really means that if you perceive something that's 10% correct, instead of adding on to it and keeping on projecting about it, just leave it as it is. And when you start to leave that perception as it is, you suffer less. And as a result, those around you suffer less as well.
Oh, yeah. Any
queries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might have already been answered, but is it necessary to change your non-valid relative truths into valid relative truths before you can perceive the ultimate truth?
Okay, thank you. So the question is, there were two levels of relative truth, invalid and valid. Before you can understand ultimate truth, do you need to negate or get rid of the non-valid relative truth and, solidify relative truth? Kishla kunzab gi demba nangla ni yorwa, trubi lo tangma trubi. The dendam demba lo tongma, tene kunzab gi demba nangla, sema meba denso ka gorwa, trubi lo tempo ka. Tene kunzab gi lo Captain Sema denso ratra. Dele tene dendam demba ratra.
Oh, tiri.
Exactly right.
Tarane.
You got it exactly right. Yeah.
Tarane dele Titishinos.
Geshe said it is like that.
Yeah. In that day.
That's it. Any other
Yeah.
questions online or not? No.
Oh, yeah, that day.
We'll dedicate now.
Sanje jinde mide owaye dogo nanda shin hoje parashu lame guzira dinshin nanga tinle chochu kyawa tang nalo sa dimbe dweme sasu dwe mizin da do ne yochi mi tang gore rane ni ya paya Gawadi Nudata Sanje to Yes, a labora show, which is a good machine, Japanese. Yawaya, never